right, guys, so this is your notes on two-step equations. What I want you to do is I want you to make sure that you have your notebook set up like this. I want you to have two clean pages next to each other. Your foldable is going to go on one side, practice problems are going to go on the other. All right, so set that up real quick before we get started. All right, so once you have that set up, we're going to jump right into it. So I just opened up my foldable. I'm going to glue mine in after just so that it's easier for me to write on, easier for you guys to see. As you can see, the steps for a two-step equation are above. The thing I want you to focus on is that although this looks overwhelming, a two-step equation is simply two one-step equations. So you're doing an adding and subtracting one step and a multiplying and dividing one step all in one shot. So let's take a look at this first problem. Now we're going to start out our problems like we always do. We're always going to first, number one, circle our x term. Our x term in this case is 2x. Remember, terms are only separated by addition and subtraction, so the 2 is a part of the x term. Now, to show our balance, so we know we have two sides of the equation, we're going to drop our line through the equal sign. Now, I always like to pretend that like this term is in jail. It's circled. You can't touch it. So you want to get it by itself. Remember, always trying to isolate the variable. What on this side of the equation has got to go if we're trying to isolate the variable? Hopefully you're saying the plus 5. And the way that we get rid of or undo a plus 5 is that we're going to do the opposite operation. This here is our second step. It says first up there, but for us, this is number one. It says add or subtract to get the x term alone. In this case, we will be subtracting 5 so that these cancel out to be 0. I'm left with the 2x on the left-hand side of the equation, but I'm not balanced right now because I have a minus 5 on the left, but not on the right. So whatever I do to one side, I need to do the other. So I'm going to do minus 5 here. Then I just have to do the math. I've got negative 17 minus 5. I'm becoming more negative by 5. So I will be at a negative 22. Technically, that is one step of a two-step. Now we're going to move on to step 3 here, which they call their second step. As you can see in the pink box, this is something you know. This is a simple one-step equation. The operation that's being shown is multiplication because it's invisible between the 2 and the x. How do we undo multiplication? Well, we undo multiplication by dividing. Multiply or divide to get the x by itself. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. This drops out to be 1, leaving you with your x. Negative 22 divided by 2 is negative 11. Therefore, your final answer is x equals negative 11. Notice the green is one step. The pink is another step. This is why it's two steps, because it's 1, 2. It's nothing that's too hard for you because it's just two one steps, one after the other. You're always going to be adding or subtracting first to get the x by itself, followed by always multiplying or dividing. Now, just because we're good mathematicians, we're going to check our answer to make sure it's proper. So the check, we write down our original equation of 2x plus 5 equals negative 17. We're going to substitute in negative 11 for my x. So I end up with 2 times negative 11 plus 5 equals negative 17. 2 times negative 11 is negative 22 plus 5 equals negative 17. Negative 22 plus 5 is negative 17. Is this a true statement? It is. That means I did it right. All right, we're moving on to the next one. Again, very simple. You know how to solve this. It's just two one steps. So we're going to follow all the same exact steps we just did for the first one. Step 1, we're going to circle the x term. Again, the x term includes the number that is with the x, either as a coefficient or the x is divided by, because terms are only separated by addition and subtraction. Second step, add or subtract to get the x term alone. Well, what needs to leave the x term? The -4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the opposite of -4, which I'm hoping you know is +4. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other, +4. These drop out, leaving you with x over 3 equals 1 plus 4 is 5. Now you have to ask yourself, what is it showing you? Well, it's either showing you multiplication or division, because that's our final step, step 3. Showing division, remember fractions are division. It's saying x divided by 3. So to undo division, we're going to multiply both sides by 3. So these drop out. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. This leaves you with x equals 5 times 3 is 15. Final answer. Because we're good mathematicians, we're going to check it by plugging it in. So we copy over our original equation. We're going to substitute in my answer for x. So I end up with 15 over 3 minus 4 equals 1. Then you simplify from here. So you end up with 5 minus 4 equals 1. 5 minus 4 is indeed 1. This is a true statement. Therefore, you know you did it right. Now I want you guys to try this one on your own. So pause the tape, and then when you unpause it, all the work will be there. Okay, there's all the work. Look over my work, compare it to yours, see if you got it right. See if you have any questions. If you do, feel free to ask me or Mr. Cohen, or shoot me an email if you're at home, or ask me tomorrow. All right, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put a series of practice problems on our notebook page. Okay, these are the 5 practice problems I want you to copy down. So do me a favor, pause the video, copy them down, start completing them. I will complete one at a time and show the answer. All right, here's the work for the first one. Pause the video, look it over, see if you have any questions, ask if you do. Here is the second one. Again, pause the video, look over your work, the check, ask questions if you have any, pause the video so you can look it over thoroughly. Here's the third one. Again, pause the video so you can look it over really well, make sure you don't have any questions, comments, concerns. Fourth, again, pause it, look it over, see how you did. And last but not least, the fifth one. So hopefully this helps you with 2-step equations. If it doesn't, just ask us any questions, shoot me an email. We're going to work on it tomorrow in class as well, but just try your best. That's all I ever ask, is that I get your best effort. Thank you.